Welcome everyone, I'm Archit Seshadri. This is WION. Let's take a look at the top stories making headlines around the world. We start in India. Following a month of tension in Jammu and Kashmir, Indian border security forces are now deployed there after a gap of 12 years. The opposition delegation from the state of Jammu and Kashmir meets with India's Prime Minister and demands for a ban on the use of pellet guns. Turkey warns India and claims Fethullah Gulen's terrorist organization has infiltrated Indian territory. Iran confirms Russia has stopped using an Iranian airbase for strikes in Syria a week after Moscow announced its fighter bombers flew from a base there. Voting has now started in the United Kingdom to decide if veteran leftist leader Jeremy Corbyn will lead Britain's Labour Party. Those stories and more in just a moment, but first we start in India, where the Border Security Force, which was taken off counterinsurgency operations in the state of Jammu and Kashmir back in 2004, was deployed in Srinagar. This is again a gap of 12 years. Security personnel were deployed in the commercial hub of Lal Chowk in the city, as well as adjoining areas for law and order duties. This is the first time that since 2004 that the BSF has been called in for active duty. The armed forces, which conducted anti-militancy operations in Kashmir for nearly 13 years from 91, was replaced in the city by the Central Reserve Police Force in 2004. Staying in Kashmir, a delegation of opposition parties led by former Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Omar Abdullah met with India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday. Now, the delegation also submitted a memorandum. They asked for specifics to the Prime Minister, urging him to initiate talks with all of the unrest there, with all the key stakeholders in the region. Take a look.
Opposition parties from Jammu and Kashmir, led by Omar Abdullah, met Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday to appeal for a political approach to resolve the present crisis in the valley. Emerging after an hour-long meeting, the former Chief Minister of the state told the media that the Prime Minister listened to them with patience and accepted the memorandum.
We stressed on the fact that the problem in Jammu and Kashmir is a political issue. Time and again, such situations arise. But if we are unable to find a political solution to this, then we will keep on committing the same mistake. The Prime Minister too acknowledged that development alone will not resolve this issue.
वज़ीर-ए-आज़म साहब ने भी अपनी जगह इस चीज़ को तस्लीम किया है कि सिर्फ डेवलपमेंट में ही इन मसलों का हल नहीं है.
The delegation also submitted a memorandum to the government expressing its anguish and sorrow over the loss of lives in the northern state. The recent spate of violence in Kashmir has attracted widespread attention due to the handling of protesters by security forces who have faced backlash for using pellet guns on civilians. The city has been in a state of lockdown since the killing of Hizbul Mujahideen commander Burhan Wani by the security forces on the 8th of July. Bureau Report, WION.
The Amnesty Row has sparked a debate on the use and abuse of the sedition law in India. While the ruling party is defending sedition charges filed against the International Human Rights Organization, this in Bengaluru, the opposition party is against it. Here's why.
A day after the Indian state of Karnataka's Home Minister G. Parmeshwara gave a clean chit to Amnesty International for an event where anti-India slogans were raised, the top political parties have got into a war of words. India's Finance Minister Arun Jaitley hit out at the Karnataka government, accusing it of taking a U-turn on the issue. Jaitley says raising slogans to advocate the disintegration of the country cannot be seen as freedom of speech.
और कल मैंने पढ़ा कर्नाटक के गृह मंत्री का बयान आ गया कि जो कुछ हुआ उसमें मैं कोई गलत अपराध नहीं मानता। इतनी बड़ी कीमत अदा करने के बाद आज भी कुछ राजनीतिक दलों की मनोस्थिति यह है कि इसे वोट बैंक की राजनीति के साथ जोड़ते हैं।
In a rebuttal of Jaitley's argument, Member of Parliament Shashi Tharoor says that national security does not get compromised when a few people shout slogans.
Charging Amnesty with the sedition law was already a big mistake. Amnesty has not advocated violence, and no one of the conference did so. If anyone actually indulges in encouragement of violence or hate speech, we should definitely act against them. But sedition is a grave charge. We are not at war at the moment. We are not don't have to think in terms of treason and all this sort of stuff. As far as I'm concerned, this charge should not have been brought, and now that the Home Minister of Karnataka has decided to drop it, I think we should now turn the page and move on. National security in our country is not going to be compromised by a few people shouting slogans. We are stronger than that, we are bigger than that, we are better than that.
While many other politicians have also reacted to the controversy.
बीते दिनों में मौलिक मुद्दों से ध्यान भटकाने के लिए आप राष्ट्रवाद का इस्तेमाल करते हैं। अब लोग ये बहुत समझ रहे हैं।
जनता दल यू राष्ट्र विरोधी गतिविधियों नारेबाजियों के खिलाफ है, लेकिन सेडिशन का चार्ज लगाना टू मच है।
The issue erupted when the Indian chapter of Amnesty International organized an event as part of a campaign to seek justice for victims of alleged human rights violations in Jammu and Kashmir on the 13th of August. Bureau Report, WION.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Afghan President Ashraf Ghani on Monday jointly inaugurated the renovated Store Palace in Kabul. They did this through video conferencing. The palace is in the city of Kabul. It was built back in 1920 by King Amanullah Khan. Now, speaking on the occasion, Prime Minister Modi called the event historic and momentous. They lauded each other. They both were talking about how India will stand for its neighbors. Afghanistan expressing similar sentiment, saying they appreciate what India is doing and for keeping the faith of the country together. India has played a significant role in the reconstruction and rehabilitation of projects in Afghanistan for the past few years.
Today's event is a testimony to the resolve and range of our cooperative endeavors. We want each Afghan to flourish and your society to be benefited from fruits of economic growth.
Asia, where the Turkish government has accused the U.S.-based Islamic scholar Fethullah Gulen of plotting the failed military coup. In fact, the Foreign Ministry of Turkey has labeled Gulen and his supporters as members of a terrorist organization, or FETO. But what's dramatic is, in his statement, this organization apparently has roots all over the world, including right here in India. Take a look.
The school in South Delhi may appear to be like any other neighborhood school, but if sources in Turkish establishment are to be believed, these schools are part of a secretive, transnational terrorist network organized and funded by Fethullah Gulen-led Hizmet movement. Turkey has raised its concern with the Indian government. India has been informed that not only Gulen's organization has been able to infiltrate India, but has been actively funding educational hubs all across the country. In a meeting with his Indian counterpart Sushma Swaraj, Turkish Foreign Minister warned that FETO has infiltrated India through associations and schools. India too have reacted to Turkey's concern and is looking into Ankara's demand for closure of associations connected with FETO in India. Bureau Report, WION.
Now, to give you a perspective of who Fethullah Gulen really is, we have an explainer by our reporter Daniele Pagini. Take a look.
A preacher, a political activist, a peaceful reformer, or a sinister mastermind who sought to topple a democratically elected government. Fethullah Gulen began his career as a preacher who followed the teaching of Said Nursi, a Sunni theologian who believed that religion and science could coexist. With that philosophy, Gulen founded the Hizmet, or the Service, which is his movement. The Hizmet is believed to be a moderate Islamic group. They believe that religion plays a central role in a country's political life. The USA backed Gulen and his movement for a long time. It was a perfect ally in an area dangerously close to the Middle East and to Russia. The Hizmet was nationalist, pro-Israel, anti-Arab, anti-Iran, and with the moderate yet conservative version of Islam. All these characteristics made it a good ally for the West during the Cold War era. The Hizmet has many souls, but it relies mainly on his network of schools, universities, coaching centers in more than 120 countries all over the world. They have at least 35 institutions in South Asia, mainly based in Afghanistan. All of these institutes rely on fundings coming from the members of the movement and from the many business organizations that they have all over the world. However, nowhere is the movement present as strong as in Turkey, when they can count on more than 1 million supporters. Before the attempted coup in July, many of the members of the Hizmet were working in the Turkish judiciary, police, army, and of course in the many private universities of the country. Although the Hizmet does not define itself as a political actor, his role in Turkish political history is prominent and undeniable. In 2001, Gulen was one among the key players in the foundation of the current ruling party, the AKP. In fact, his support was crucial for a young Erdogan as he rose among the ranks, and probably the current president of the Republic of Turkey, Erdogan, could not be where he is without Gulen's support. In 2013, Erdogan found himself and many political party members in the midst of a serious economic crisis, and it all started with confidential leaks coming from the ranks of the Hizmet itself. This kick-started a political war between the two allies, and the alliance was broken. In a matter of time, the Hizmet was being defined as a terrorist organization. That was followed by a slow purge. All the Hizmet members working in government institutions were fired or suspended from their posts. The 2016 coup attempt finally gave Erdogan the perfect pretext to try to uproot once and for all the Gulenist movement from Turkey. Since that fateful July night, more than 40,000 people have been fired, jailed or suspended. The Erdogan regime has also launched an international campaign against the Hizmet and Gulen, who continues to be in exile in the US. It is not known if any steps have been taken to provide support to the affected family and if the government has ensured that the violence and the attacks are under control or, better, prevented.
Well, Iran on Monday said that Russia's raids on Syria from one of its air bases had ended for now, shortly after accusing Moscow, revealing its bombing missions. Now, in a rare public criticism, Defense Minister Hossein Deghan criticized Russia for disclosing that its warplanes were using Tehran's airbase to attack insurgents in Syria. Iran and Russia are key backers of President Bashar al-Assad, but Tehran has remained relatively guarded about its precise involvement in this conflict. The Islamic Republic is highly secretive to any suggestion that it would allow foreign militaries to be based in its own territory, insisting that Russian planes were only in Iran to refuel. Well, time for a short break now. We'll have much more news from across the globe right after this.